Hey everybody, it's Dana and welcome back to the channel. I am so sorry I have been missing in action, but I have a brand new baby granddaughter, so I've been spending a lot of my time with her, but I hope to get back to making videos regularly for you guys. So for today's cards, we're going to be using the Just Right stamp set from Simon Says Stamp. I fell in love with this huge pencil here and the adorable little sentiment, and you can also get the coordinating die. Now the die is only going to cut out the large pencil, not the smaller ones. You can also grab the coordinating Just Right layering pencil stencil. I grabbed this as soon as I saw it because I knew this would be a quick way to make some cards. So I want to recreate this card right here. I did a practice run on it. I love this, so I decided to come back and share it with you. Now I am using colors from Simon Says Stamp, and I'm using their colors because they have 3 in a color combo. And that was a great way for me to have a light card, a medium card, and a darker tone card. It just made me feel like I can have a great variation in the cards I was going to send out, even though they were the exact same color hues. One was just lighter and one was just darker. Again, I'll have all the supplies that I used for this listed below. I would like to give a big shout out to my returning subscribers, but if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell, and give me a like, and you'll be able to know when I post more videos. I did do a little mock-up here to show me what stencil filled in what area of the card panel. Now, this is not necessary, you guys. It just allowed me in my head to process what I was doing a little bit quicker. But that is not mandatory for you to do. This is such an easy stamp set to line up. Now, inside my Misty, I do have a waffle flower grip mat. I love these grip mats. One, because with this type of stamp, you cannot put a magnet on this. So you can tuck this if you wanted to into the corner of your Misty and hope it stays there. But for me to use the grip mat, I knew for a fact that this panel was not going to go anywhere. It was going to stay exactly where it was. Now I did use Hero Arts ink here. My ink pad is a little bit dry, so I did stamp this 2 or 3 times per panel, just so I knew I would have a nice crisp black line. Now, if you did not purchase the coordinating stencil, that is absolutely fine. These pencils are really, really easy to color up. And I actually will post on my Instagram that I have 2 other cards that I actually watercolored. If you guys would like to see me do those with my Karen water brush markers, let me know and I'll try to get a video up for you guys. All right, once everything was stamped, I had my panels, I was good to go. Now it was time to really start creating these cards. Now for this, I brought in my Alt to New grip mat. Because this mat is a little bit larger, I know that I'm going to be able to set down my ink right next to my panel. Now again, remember I had that little guide. That guide just showed me where stencil number 1 needed to be, or stencil number 2, and so on. So for each color, I went in and put in, or each segment of the pencil rather, I went in and put in a color. Now remember, I'll have all of these colors listed below, but I started out with the lightest shade. So another thing that I found that was very, very helpful when I was creating these cards is to do all of the colors at once, meaning all the panels, every section 1, and then I will go to the next panel and do all the panels section number 2, and so on. This is just so I didn't have to keep going back and forth to finish one card. It just made creating a little bit easier. So the second panel was done with the medium color in that trio from Simon Says Stamp, and this one is going to be the darker color. Now at the end of the video, that's where you'll be able to really see the difference in the colors. I mean, as I'm going through them here, yes, you can kind of see that the orange is getting a little bit brighter, a little bit deeper. But really at the end, when you get to see all three of them side by side, that's when you'll really notice the color. Now, this video is sped up just a little bit, not much. So I say in total, it probably took me 30, 35 minutes maybe to get this done. So, and I had at the end, I had the sample I already had, and then the 3 cards I did here. So I already had 4 cards to send out. Now I'm coming in with the yellows, and I'm always, always, always starting with my lightest shade. So this way, if I go into my medium shade, my light shade's not really going to interfere with that much compared to if I did the reverse. I would have to be cleaning that brush every time to get off that heavier color. I hope that makes sense when I say that. So if you're going to be only using one blending brush, start with your lightest color and work your way to your darkest color. That way you don't have to clean in between. So here is my second yellow. And as you can see, this yellow is getting a little bit more cheery, a little bit more of a pop of yellow here. When I'm done with this, I'll bring in my third. So you can see I'm really building up that color. Now get this. If you did not have all these inks, you can still achieve this. You'll just want to start very light-handed on your first panel. Your second panel, you want to add a little bit more ink. And on your third panel, that's where you want to be your heaviest. So you can create these with just having 3 of the colors. But if you are able to splurge just a little bit and get the trio of colors, it just makes things like this go a little bit quicker. So as you can see, this is now, I'm going to my blue section, but you can see that these are very, very light colors here. Again, I just have to line up that stencil and again, start with that lightest ink color. Now, once I start putting this down, this panel is really going to look almost done. You know, we still have the eraser and all that stuff to go, but you really be able to see the color palette here. See how soft that is? It's so pretty. Now, after I did all of these, I didn't want to say which one was my favorite because I think they're all my favorite. But to be honest, I really did like the darker shades. Now, I am sending this to some kiddos that have gone back to school. I don't have any little kids. My kids are grown, and I just was blessed with a granddaughter, but she is only, at the time I made this video, a month old. So she's not going to be going to school anytime soon. But I did see this and felt like I wanted to share these pencils and the positive, you're sharp sentiment with some great kids. Because there are a lot of great kids that I know that, you know, sometimes you just want to show them a little love, even though you don't have little ones. So here it is with that last shade of blue. And you really, really can see the vibrancy of this one. And you can really see that color pop. So now we have those panels done, the light, medium, and the dark. So you can definitely see the color build up here. Now we need to come in and we need to do our erasers. Now for this one here, I did not pick out 3 shades of this. I just picked out one pink for this because, you know, all erasers are going to look the same. I don't think we're going to have a lighter, a darker, and a more dark. I just feel like the pink is going to be the pink, and that's about it. I did the same thing when it came down to the pencil itself, where you would have trimmed down to get your point. I did that in one color as well. Now, this time I decided to go ahead and start finishing up some of the panels instead of going back and forth through all of them. Now, when I'm putting down this color, I am doing pretty much the same thing I had been doing. I am starting with a lighter hand, and then I'm going a little bit darker as I go through my colors. Now, if you did not want to do that and you just wanted to leave it as it is, that is absolutely fine. You do not have to do that. But as you can see, this is so super easy to line up. The only thing here that I messed up with, I put my panel upside down. So nothing was lining up. So don't do that. Whatever you do, don't do that. Just make sure that when you lay it on your panel, just make sure they're consistent on how you have your stencils set up. So as you can see, this is the lighter of the colors. And again, I just want to get through these panels. I just want to make sure that when I'm done with this, all of the panels are created and we can go ahead and start putting together our cards. So leave me a comment below if you're creating back to school cards. I think it's so great when we're able to show our youngers that we are wishing them well and wishing them a successful year. And really, just by giving out this kind of love to them, you just don't know how empowering that can be for them to start their school year. Now, I know two of the cards I'm sending, the kids have already started their school year, and that's okay because they literally just started like a week or two ago. So I'm still able to inspire them and tell them to have a fantastic year. Again, if you don't have little ones, this is still a perfect opportunity for you to show some love to those younger kids. All right, now I am coming to the end of doing the stenciling. And like I said, these panels did not take me very long to put together at all. So now I have these adorable little pencils. I think they're so cute. They're just so stinking cute. And I do want to mention too, these can go to adults as well. You can make these teacher cards, but you can see how the color variation is over these three cards. All right, I went ahead and I want to lay these out so you can see how we went from the lightest to the medium to the darkest. Now, I like to give like a cast shadow to images like this. I used to do it all the time a while back, and then I kind of went off and didn't stop doing it. But now I'm back to it. So I am using a gray Olo marker here, and I'm just outlining the pencils. And because this is done on white, it's going to give this a little bit of height to it. It kind of will make it look like the pencils are kind of floating off of the page. Now, again, you don't have to do this, but these little touches like this really do make a difference when you're creating your cards. So I'm coming down to the last one here. Now, you might not be able to see it very well on camera, but I can see it great in my room. And then your recipient is also going to see it well. Now, if you wanted to go a little bit darker, you could, but I would not suggest going too dark because then it would just look like a line and not like a cast shadow. So there are three panels already. Now let's go ahead and start putting these together. Now I went ahead and I grabbed up some coordinating cardstock and I did go ahead and stamp out my sentiment and die cut that out. Now for this, when I picked my colors, I picked a very soft yellow for my softest blend, a more orangey pink for my middle blend, and then this gorgeous blue for that deep blue color. Again, all of these colors will be listed below on all the cardstock that I used. And I am going to use some liquid adhesive here to attach my cards, my panels to my cardstock. And I did want to remind you guys that I did trim these down to give myself a little bit of a border around the color panel, just so I had a pop of color behind all the pencils. Now, if you wanted to, you do not need to do that. You can just take it all the way to the edge. But I thought by just giving that little bit of a peak of color, I thought it really looked pretty. Now on one of these, I believe it was the blue, I actually trimmed it down a little bit more so I can have a wider border. Now I could have just left these card panels like this, and I think they will look absolutely gorgeous. But again, if you want to step up your cards just a little bit more, it's really fun to do and it does not take much time. So for me, I decided to grab my white Jelly Roll pen. And for this, I'm just going to add some designs to the darker panel. The one in the middle, I'm just going to add some highlights to. And the one that's a little bit softer, I'm really not going to do much of anything with that one. Again, this is just a great way to add a little bit more detail to your cards. So for this one here, I'm going to put in some polka dots and then some diamond shapes and just fill in around the pencils. Again, this is not necessary to do on these card panels. Now I'm coming to the end of finishing up this first card. And again, just adding these little bits here and there actually just makes the card stand out a little bit more. But again, if you do not want to do it, that's okay. Your card is still going to be gorgeous, and I know the recipient will love it. So now since I'm done with this one, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys what I completed here, and then I'm going to move that one aside. For this one here, I'm just going to do in a few dots and then a couple of dashes, just a little bit of a highlight point on these. Nothing fancy on this because number one, the color is a little bit lighter and you might not see the white as well. So again, I'm just finishing up with just some highlight bits, and also I'm gonna actually do it on the erasers too. Again, totally not necessary, but it does step up your cards. Just those finishing touches sometimes does really make a difference in your card making. All right, I have that one done. And then for this one here, I'm just going to leave that. I don't want to put anything on that that's white because the color is so light. Now I can go ahead and pair this out with the sentiments that I did. Now I did die cut these out 3 times each so that my sentiment had a little bit of dimension to it. Again, if you did not want to do that, you can literally just stamp this on the card panel if you choose to do that. But if you have the coordinating dies, why not just go ahead and die cut out the sentiment? And I did decide to put the sentiment differently on each card. Again, it will fit perfectly right across the center, like the one in the middle. But I thought just giving these a little bit of a different vibe per card really just spoke to me a little bit more. Now, the white card bases I'm using here are my favorite. They're already pre-cut. They're the Hero Arts side and top folding card panels. Again, they're already cut down to an A2 size, so they are just absolutely perfect when you do not feel like cutting down your own panels. Every opportunity that I have a chance to purchase this, I'm going to purchase them because they really do make my life so much easier. Okay, we're going to go ahead and finish up this last one here. And look how gorgeous these back to school cards are. All of our kids need a little bit of love when they go back to school. It can be very stressful for them. So making them a few little cards like this just to brighten up their days. You can also do it when they get progress reports as well. All right, everybody, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I have 2 videos here if you would like to see some more by me. And don't forget to subscribe. I will see you guys in another video soon. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.